Welcome to episode 27 of the State of Mirrorless. In the previous episodes, we had people on the show who are using mirrorless cameras for many different purposes, from shooting weddings, wildlife, landscapes, and so on. But we never had anyone take their mirrorless cameras underwater. Our guest today is Erika Thornes. Did I say your name right?
Perfect.
Who is joining us from sunny California.
Hi, yes, San Diego is where I reside, and I love it because I have access to pools and beaches year-round.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Is photography, what role plays photography in your life?
Photography is a huge part of my life. I started out with my first manual camera at age 11 and hung out in the darkroom as much as possible as a child. As soon as I hit middle school and they had that room, I was in there. I used to carry my camera everywhere. I used to carry the little guides, and I just had fun shooting. I shot all the way through high school, and then when I got to college, I had some decisions to make, and I ended up deciding to look at the journalism side of it. I worked for Photo Services. I was the photo editor of the college paper. And unfortunately, as soon as I realized how hard photojournalists worked, what hours they kept, and how little they got paid, I backed away and decided that wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to lead. And I ended up moving to San Diego with my husband and working in immunology for a few years. And just as I stopped carrying diaper bags, I picked up my very first DSLR. The reason it took me so long was I was waiting for the sensors on the DSLRs to get good enough to shoot indoors. So that's kind of my evolution, and I've been shooting again ever since I got that first Canon DSLR.
So what is now in your camera bag?
In my camera bag currently, I am in transition. I had a 5D Mark III that I just recently sold, and I downgraded to the full frame 60, the Canon 60. And the reason that I downgraded was I'm waiting for the brand new Sony A7 R2 to come out. But at the moment, this is my baby. I take it everywhere with me. It is the new Sony a6000. It's been around for a year or two, and it has basically replaced my DSLR. I use it everywhere. So, yeah. So basically, I have slimmed myself down.
Do you like it a lot?
I love it. People say I should be working for Sony by how much I just tell people, look at this, look what this can do. And whenever I'm out with my friends that are all using the pro, all the pro shooters that I hang out with, I keep pulling out my little guy and say, can your camera do this? And then I'll put it on rapid fire and they'll just listen to the clicks. And then I'll say, is your camera small enough to do this? Can you tuck yours in your purse? And is your image quality this good? And they all kind of just go, oh, Erika, it's just so good, I want it. So it's been a fun time. But the reason that I got this little guy over any of the other ones, this A6000, is because I can get this for less than $200.
So I guess you take lots of photos in the water, but in general, what is your favorite kind of photography? What do you shoot most?
I shoot life. I shoot in and around the water. I shoot the beach. I shoot my children. I shoot portraits in the water, underwater. I also shoot events and birthday parties and other things that come my way. I love event photography because it keeps me thinking on my feet, but my pure, true passion is capturing life as it unfolds with my friends and my family.
And you do that often in the pool or in the sea. So I just wanted to show our audience a few of your pictures. So let me just share my screen here so we can show some of your pictures taken in the water. And you can tell us a bit about how those where those pictures were taken and with what kind of equipment, and if you can tell us anything that you think our audience would like to know about those pictures.
Yes. So I had an assignment through our local church to shoot for an ad campaign that they had coming out, and they wanted adventure-style pictures of people contemplating. And I said, well, you know, I really wanted to capture the beauty and the peacefulness of the ocean at sunset, and how much time you can just spend out there thinking and just looking at just the wonder. And these images, I feel, convey a sense of calmness and peace that you couldn't get had I been shooting the surfer actually riding the waves. So with these, I used my little A6000 camera in the underwater housing, and I set it to around f8 to f11 to make sure that he was pretty much in focus, because the way that with the focus on these cameras, where you can set, most of the underwater surf photographers that I know, surf photographers, use manual focus, and I chose not to use manual focus on these. I wanted some of the images to be caught on the waves that were glistening in the front. I still set it to spot focus mid up on the image, and it's wonderful to be able to use this A6000 out on the water because of the large dynamic range it has. So I'm able to capture the softness of the light and the richness of the shadows at the same time. Like, I'm able to pull this image with the deep, as you can see this one with the surf on the bottom with the surfer, I'm able to get some details in shadow of the water underneath while still exposing the top. The dynamic range in this camera is incredible and has been such a great asset for these type of images. The other thing that I love about using that hard underwater case is I can adjust all the settings on the fly. So if I need to change something, I have access to all the buttons. Before, when I was using a DSLR on the beach or in the pools, I'd have to set everything, preset everything, zip it all up in this like tight professional Ziploc bag, and then take it out and just, I had what I had. I couldn't adjust any settings once I was out there. The freedom to be able to shoot like this at under $1,000 investment is such a great opportunity that Mirrorless has provided. Yeah, so that's that's a little bit of information about why I've chosen to go with the Sony, and why I'm just in love, because I can capture portraits like this out in the water that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
Are you floating in the water? Are you?
I am. I'm sitting on a boogie board. So the surfer is on a short board, so it kind of sinks a little bit, and I'm on a boogie board wearing a wetsuit, carrying my camera, and just kind of maneuvering around him, asking him to swim past me and swim past me with the sun, and then just out there just chatting and talking, waiting for the sun to set.
Yeah, these are very cool pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And you get good visibility in the LCD screen with that housing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's amazing.
Problems with framing or anything?
None at all. And the advantage is that the live view on it is like basically native. When I was using a DSLR, the live view cut the focusing down. It cut a lot of the features down. With this, with that housing, I just switch it to. There's two settings. You can either have it be on the monitor or or the big screen. And so I just set it to do just on the screen and not on the eyepiece ever. And I can fully read and see my images right back here on the back of the camera, which for the DSLR, it wasn't as easy unless you went into the cases that were several $1,000s.
And who is the manufacturer of that case?
There's two people that manufacture these ones, but they're the exact same one. I think this is the newer brand. It's on Amazon. I'm sure we'll put a link in the show notes. But it is just a simple. Just look for the A6000 underwater, and there's two brands. They come out of Hong Kong, and I'm just thrilled because the quality on them is outstanding. I've used Canon mirrorless cameras. They're point and shoots, and they're good, but the ones that you can, it's hard to, I've used the ones that shoot RAW, and their cases and their cameras, when you combined, to come out to be a much higher price point, and the quality isn't as good. So, but the cases are just as sturdy and just as strong as the Canon underwater cases for their point and shoots.
Do you use a zoom lens or a...
You can. This one uses the kit lens, or I can also stick the 35 millimeter in. So I use the kit lens, which is on a crop sensor 16 to 50.
And you're able to turn...
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little knob here for just adjusting that. It's fantastic.
So you're not losing anything with that case?
No,
all the
not at all.
That you...
All the controls. And one of the other really cool features is there's a sensor, a moisture sensor inside the camera. And so the moisture sensor will alert me with a light and with an audible alarm if there's any moisture in the case itself. So that's a great little safety feature.
Great. Thank you. I think many people will want to pick up.
Yeah, here, I'll show you this. Even your fingers will light it off. So it's fun.
That's great. It's something that many people would love doing, and now knowing that they can do that with relatively cheap equipment.
Yes,
not
I think that's the big key. And I'm
with great quality.
And I'm really gung ho for the mirrorless because of the fact that it improves the quality of my work a lot with the underwater.
Okay, great. Is there any tip that you would like to tell our audience about photography or photography in general or underwater?
Yeah, well, let me tell you the underwater, the tip. One of the biggest tips is water clarity. And when you're shooting in the ocean, it is what it is. But when you're in a pool, one of the biggest tips that I have is zoom it to as wide of a setting as you can without too much distortion and get close to your subject. You want to be as close as possible just so that you can get as many details and you're not dealing with as much gunk in the water.
That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt in the water between you and the subject getting close.
Yeah,
it's something that you would not think of doing outside in the air, but
no, and it's something that you make a few mistakes and you're zooming out. You're thinking, portrait. If you're doing something that you want to be at a, relatively, longer lens, but no, not underwater. You want to be as close as possible without the distortion.
Okay, I would like to ask you if you want to share something about you that not many people know.
Well, you're going to laugh at this. I'm an underwater photographer who tries very hard to never put my face in the water.
Oh.
So I was shooting 2 or 3 gigs in a row a few years back, and the constant up and down really damaged my ears. And so I spent 2 years recovering from that. And so now when I'm shooting, I normally just stick the camera underwater and keep my head above.
Interesting. So you have your own occupational hazards.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something that not a lot of people know, because most underwater photographers actually go underwater.
Finally, where can people go online to find about you? You have a website where people can see more of your photos?
Yes, www.erikathornes.com. I'm also on Google+, and I have the privilege of being on the Chromecast. So sometimes if you're on the Chromecast, you'll see some of my landscapes come across, which is kind of fun. And I'm on Facebook as well. So I'm the only Erika Thornes in the world, and so I think I should be pretty easy to find.
I guess so. And we were long-time connections on Google+.
Yes, absolutely. It's been fun.
It's been fun to finally talk to you. And anything coming up for you? Any trips? Any interesting shoots that you
Well,
have planned?
this weekend I'm heading up to the Hoh Rainforest in Washington with my children. We're just going to spend 2 days going around the peninsula, and so hopefully there'll be some good opportunities. And I'm only bringing my mirrorless set, so we are packing it light, and this is all I'm bringing. And then I'm coming back and getting ready to head out to Photoshop World and see if I can pick up some new techniques and play with some old friends and meet some new ones.
Great. So I would like to thank you for being with us today, and I wish you all the best for your underwater photography or any kind of photography that you do. And I would recommend everyone to keep an eye on what you do, on your work, on your website, because it's it goes beyond just underwater photography. You have lots of kids portraits and landscapes and so on.
Yes, but since this is the State of Mirrorless, I thought that it would be really good to share what I'm using my mirrorless system for, which is, I'm just so happy.
Are you planning to give away your DSLR?
Eventually, yes. So probably within the next 6 months, I think I'm going to be done with the DSLRs and switching fully to mirrorless.
Great, great for Sony, so for Canon, but
I'm keeping my Canon glass. I'm very happy with my Canon glass.
Use adapter.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably planning on doing, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks again. Thanks for being with us, and take care.
Thank you so much.